are relaxed. So we're kind of starting at the end and going back. All chambers are relaxed and not doing anything. My handwriting's horrible. So this is the time when we were doing the cycle on the PowerPoint right before we got going. When the heart's not doing anything. No contraction of atria. No contraction of ventricles. No depolarization, anything. Everything's at rest.
Only going on would be blood flowing from the atrium.
Well, blood would be coming from the vena cavas right now, actually into the atria. Nobody's contracting. What are the AV valves? The AV valves are open or shut?
They're
When
contracting.
it's all
They're
relaxed,
shut.
they got to be what?
They're shut. Oh, they're open.
Open. And what shuts them is the contraction of the ventricles. So remember, they're just a flap. They can't do anything on their own. They have no brain. They have no nerves to them. So the AV valves are open. What are we talking about? Tricuspid and bicuspid. If the ventricles aren't contracted, they have to be open. There's no other way. Where's blood flow going right now? It's going gravity into the ventricles, and it's coming from the vena cavas into the atria. Doesn't take any energy to do that. The heart doesn't have to be beating to do either one of those things. So the blood's still coming back from the vena cava, superior and inferior. It's flowing direct. The AV valves are wide open, so there's no door to stop them. And the blood's going directly in the atria, falling straight down into the ventricles, so the ventricles are filled. That's quiescent period. Makes sense? Okay, now we start doing things. Let's call the second one. Atrial systole. That's got to happen first, right? Now you're going to tell me, oh, I got to list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. Tell me about the SA node. What's it do? Fire. The SA node is, it gets stimulated, right? Where'd it come from? The medulla oblongata. And the atria is, during atrial systole, the SA node has to fire first for that to happen, or it would never know. So the SA node fires. What word do you use for the spread of the electricity across there? What's the word for that? What's the NA sodium gates opening? Depolarization. So the atria are depolarizing during this. During atrial systole, we have to have SA node fire. We have to have depot. None of this can happen. Okay? What would you see on the EKG? I love it. A P wave. What's another word for systole? Contract, so the atria contract. What are the ventricles doing?
Putting up.
They're just sitting there, right? They're wide open. So what of those numbers would be in there? The numbers we wrote down that I raised, what numbers would be in there? What would the amount of blood they haven't contracted, they're filling up.
130.
It could be the big number, right?
Yeah.
What's the name of that?
Diastolic volume.
So they have the EDV and the end resting. They're resting. So they're filling up with their end resting volume. And how much is that?
130.
130. So they're at the end of this, at the end of the atrial systole, they're going to have the ventricles are going to have their EDV, and it's going to be about 130 mils of blood. The ventricles, I don't care about atria. They just give us what they need. Good with that. Number 3. And you can take this and put it right in your picture.
Was the quiescent period the whole thing or just the first part?
Just the first part. The number 1 was quiescent, number 2 was atrial systole.
All right.
You can't see it over there.
Yeah, I got it.
These are words, I put these words on here because your book has them in docs levels crap. I mean, it's good stuff. They like isovolumetric. They like to say words like that. And isovolumetric contraction of ventricles. That's kind of a fancy way of saying from the start to finish. Because that puts depolarization in there, that puts electrical current in there, that puts sodium gates opening, That puts everything, if you use that term, isovolumetric, you should start with that. Contraction of the, if you just put contraction of the ventricles, leave out the QRS. All right. What are the atria doing right now during this?
Relaxation?
Relaxation. And if they relax, what's the word we use for no more, for the chemical potassium going out?
Repolarization?
Repolarizing. So the atria are relaxing and repolarizing. Makes sense, right? What are the ventricles doing electrically? Depolarizing. So ventricles are depol. So sodium gates are flooding open. The calcium's getting ready to keep that refractory period there, that plateau. So the beat is longer. Their chemical is sodium going across the. What would you see on the EKG?
The QRS?
The QRS would show up during this period. Yes?
The atrial system will show no contraction.
In atrial systole, the ventricles are relaxed. In atrial systole, the atria are contracting. The ventricles are wide open so they can take all the blood on. Okay, what's another word for this after the chemical has happened? They actually, they actually contract. So if you have depolarization, the next thing that's going to happen is the actual contraction. So ventricles actually contract during this phase. What does the ventricles contracting cause the AV valves to do? AV valves.
AV valves close.
Pressure.
Linear open.
That's coming next. Well, that's in the next one. You haven't got it yet. Okay? Rising pressure closes the AV valves. And what sound would you hear? Love, sound one. And they're numbered. That's the official name, sound one. Where I am right now, has any blood come out of the ventricles? No. So no ejection of blood has happened yet. You got to go to step 4 for that. So isovolumetric does not push any blood. That's why it says metric, isometric. You know, if you do an isometric exercise, you do this, don't move anything. You just push as hard as you can, nothing's happening. All right, number 4. You need to sit down at home and go over this, over and over, until you see in your head of what's going on. Number 4. Oh, that's what they love to say that word too. Ventricular ejection. They don't say the pumping the blood or what's coming out of it. They say ventricular ejection. All right. Tell me about the similar valves.
They're opening.
They open because the pressure now is enough to overcome that in the aorta. So the pressure of that blood sitting on top of the aorta is overcome and the valves shoot open. So similar valves open. Rising pressure, open similar valves. Then next would be that. Blood comes out. Blood goes into the aorta. Ejection of the blood. Rapid ejection of blood, I wrote in my paper. And I just wrote this from the book. This is not official. I just kind of made this.